Check, check, check. Let me get situated here. Pretty choppy day. Pretty choppy. All right, we got this. Let me pop a Zin. Slam a Red Bull. All right, let the games begin. Let's see what we got. Let's get rid of this. Let me mark up my charts. Looks like we got an inside hour, 4-hour broadening formation, outside bar. 12-hour outside bar, daily continuation, inside week. Close to breaking to the upside, but not quite there yet. Probably going to run out of time unless we get a strong day tomorrow. Very possible. I think we got numbers tomorrow for something. Unemployment, maybe? Let's go to our daily. Daily high. Daily low. We got the weekly. Daily open will adjust after the open. So I'm going to just drag this up here and out of the way. Not going to bother with the 4-hour low. As close to the, if things start to look bearish, then I'll go back and mark it, but I don't really care at this point. We got the 4-hour daily high. Right. Yeah. The hourly inside bar. Big old hammer candle. Mark the 60. And we got a 30-minute inside bar, which I'm going to mark. And that should be good enough. Let me drag this down. I activated a new XFA. I've got my longest held XFA is on life support at the moment. You can see here, I've not had a good past week or two, really 3 weeks of trading. This week was pretty trash. I didn't trade on Friday because I requested a payout. So I did get 5,500 out of this account in January. So that's a win for me. Started off the week last week in January was okay, and then just nothing since then. I don't know if it's me forcing trades, me not being patient. The last 2 days I've been very patient. I haven't liked what I've seen. Last night on live stream, I think I had a $400 green trade that ended up Test, 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 test. That's weird. I've not had that happen before. I've had no audio when I start Discord. I got to figure out what that is because I'm not really paying attention to whether the mic is working. I'm just kind of rambling on and talking about whatever. Wonder how I can fix that or look into it. But yeah, I mean, the gist of it was there wasn't anything I liked, and it's okay to not trade. Having XFAs with low balances where I'm going to lose the account after 35 days of trading it has me being more picky, and I think that should be my default, and it hasn't been for a while. My default has been trade every day for the last 6 months of doing this prop slash futures thing and staying up for sometimes 20 hours straight from Globex open till New York close. And, um, it's not the healthiest thing. We don't have, as traders, it's a lot of mental energy that we spend sitting here, even though we're just clicking buttons. It's, you're looking at multiple time frames. You're trying to manage risk. You're planning out what, if this, then that. If the 30 does this, what's that? How's that going to look on the 60? The 4 hour, what's that going to set up? And it's easy for someone on the outside to just say, yeah, you're sitting here just clicking buttons, making money. But if it was that easy, I would tell all my friends about it. Just sit here and click buttons and make money. And anybody who's been doing this a minute knows that's not how it works. So inside 60, inside 4 hour, I'm just not gonna touch anything here. Gonna stick to my rules. If we had just maybe filled the 30-minute gap here and we came and tapped this line or filled this little opening gap and then started to come back through, maybe take a shot at it, but we're so far away from like anything happening on the 60, right? Even if we break bear here, there's we got 45 points until we trigger the 60 down. And with the inside 60, we don't have short-term direction. This is a big candle range, sure. 114 points, but it doesn't do us any good if it's just going to do like this, whatever, chop around in here. And we don't have, you try and long this and then it gets up here and then it dumps back down. And it's just not where I want to be. I did get this little 5 minute, two down green, broke to the upside. Maybe this goes outside 30. Would buyers would have to put in a bit of work here. 64 points on the opening 30-minute candle, but they got 20 minutes to do it. It's possible. But with inside 60, inside 4 hour, I'm just sitting tight right now. Kind of going to poke around I'm going to take a look at metals and see what gold is up to. Let me pull up, let me go. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me pop up, oh, I got 3 people watching on. I was like, I don't need to bother with. Hold up. Tronex has his sound on. Let me make sure it's working now. Yep. Yeah, what's up, buddy? Tronex in the house. We fixed it. I don't know what's going on with my mic situation. It's becoming a real nuisance. They pop Discord chat out with, YouTube chat with Discord. I love chatting with you guys. back to charts, kind of browse around here and see what's doing. Natural gas, Nikkei, oil. I mean, I'll show you guys an example of when Sarah says take profits at targets. This is NQ. Let me go to CL here. Lines are still marked up on these charts, and I was covering this earlier in January. Let me blow this up so it's a little easier to see. Right, double inside month, broke bull, hit target, gave you some extra, right? Hit another target, and then completely sold off. So this is a good example of not being greedy when you get this was 875 ticks. So one of the reasons I'm looking to open a personal account is so I can swing a little bit and hold overnight. This happened, I think, within like a week or two. But hit target, don't get greedy, take the money and run because it gave all of that move back, and now we are rev stratting on the month. Right, we get this big shooter candle here, triggering to the downside, and we're going to be targeting these lows over here. So it was, seeing this, and then yesterday the trade on NQ that hit hourly target where I just didn't exit or take like at least half off or 80% reminded me to kind of tone down the greed a little bit. Right? When the trade plays out, look at it as an individual trade. I took this trade, here's my entry, this is my target. Am I going to make, like, if the trade ends up paying, say it was 20 points, so 400 per mini, am I going to start looking for $800 out of this, or 40 points, right? I mean, the trade is a 20-point move. If you get more, great, but like exit 80% of the position, and then if you want to leave runners, fine. Or if I want to leave runners, fine. But getting too greedy sometimes has cost me a ton of money. And, I just think the CL is a perfect example of this trade played out. This was a great trade, right? It hit its target. It gave you more. So if you held a little bit of some runners and trailed, let's say you stopped out half, it hit target, you trailed the rest, you stopped out somewhere up here, in the middle of this, between the line and the high here. Like, great trade. That was it. That's the trade. The trade is not for it to go, like, to just, god damn it. The trade is not for it to just like keep going. It could, but that's not, our target is up here. It hit the target. You got to be happy with that. Trade worked. Like, don't sit there and try and squeeze more out of a trade than the market's going to give you. If you got greedy and just held this, I mean, we're all the way back past the entry, which I would hope nobody would just sit through that. You would stop out at some point, but if you gave back half of this move, that kind of sucks. No need for it. One of my biggest problems, I think, right now, like I've gotten the revenge trading thing pretty much under control. I think the next big area for me to focus on is locking in gains quicker. Like, if we look at my trade plan and rules, we'll skim through this while NQ's kind of not doing a whole lot here. Trade less screen time. I've done that, right? I just talked about that. I'm not sitting here for 20 hours, 23 hours. Discipline, moving my daily loss. I've not done that. I got rid of it. Full transparency, on my account where I had $600 of drawdown, because I figured I would give myself a little wiggle room. Like, I don't want to end up with only $100 of drawdown in the account. It makes it much harder to recover from. So I did cut it at about what I would use for my daily loss limit, but I did give myself some breathing room in case the market showed up today to try and recover. But in general, like I stick to my 350 and that's it. Impatience, always working on that. This I've not worried about at the moment. But locking in gains quicker, staying out of sideways chop, I've done a, an okay job at that. I can still work on that. Avoid scaling up when trading poorly. I think if I had to do it again in my funded account, like after maybe 3 losing days in a row, 4 losing days in a row, either size down, like cut my daily loss limit maybe down to 200, or um, take a day or two off. I think that's kind of ping ponging around in my head about, I'm trying to look at like how could I have improved with this last XFA? Like I did a lot of things right. What could I do? What could I have done better? And I think we need to analyze our trading in kind of like a scientific type of way. Like look at what we did good, try and do more of that. Look at what we did, could have improved on, and then try and work on those things moving forward. But in general, I'm pretty happy with what I managed to squeeze out of January, and we're only 6 days into February, right? So I got a lot of time to put some money on the board in February. But it is kind of weird for me as somebody who, kind of trades every day to make a shift to not trading every day and say, like, the market's not going to be great every day. Why don't I just focus on the days when it's great? Like this XFA, the reason I was able to get 5,000 out of it is because I had a great first week. I mean, this was 1 week of trading was $8,000, right? Then I was down a little bit here. I was green here. Was able to get a payout here, and then the last 2 weeks have just been really kind of rough. I left about 2,100 or something in the account, so I think I was at 2,600 when after I don't remember where it was, but then I just had a string of losing days. Nothing I can do about that. Like sometimes that's gonna happen. We're gonna, not the market's gonna be off or we're gonna be off. But that's a good example of I only needed 1 week out of the month to make my month. So, sitting here trading every day isn't a requirement. Take a peek at ES here. We got 15, so the 15-minute here. We got a 2 down, green. Trying to take out these highs and potentially head up here, which I want a long, but I think, with the inside 60 inside 4 hour, I have to stick to that, right? Like I don't want to. I want to take shots and say, all right, maybe, we get the hour to break to the upside, but there's no there's no magnitude here. Really, if this hammer breaks, really we'd be targeting this. And can it go higher? Sure. But that's what I did yesterday, and it didn't. Here's the hour. This was the trade I took yesterday, right? Was this 2 down green hammer? This was magnitude, and I was looking for more. And we just didn't get more. We got stuck inside of that candle, right? We just poked above and then stayed kind of stuck sideways until we finally broke out. So sometimes you just gotta, the trade was to take profit up here. If it keeps going, fine, but trail a stop, get out of 80% of the position, or at least half. Say, all right, this trade is done. If it gives me more, great, and then trail stop tighter. But there's nothing. The only thing I do like is on the 4 hour and the 12 hour here. So I like this would be broadening formation expansion. Let me use this tool. So we got this low to this low, right? We got this here, this high to this high. We got this here. So we get a little broadening formation and a break of this high with full time frame continuity, right? We're green on all time frames, trading the potential expansion. But you got to be careful with these. They just need to go. If they don't go right away, you're trading the top of broadening formation. So we could go up and tap this and then come all the way back through this range. But when they go, they go. I really like trading them. But we're not, we're still 33 points away from that happening. So I don't want to jump in early saying, well, this could happen. It definitely doesn't have to. I think the best thing to do is to wait for the hourly flip here. So we end up with an inside bar, and then trade the break, preferably to the upside. So at least we can squeeze out, you know, 30 to maybe 33 points, 28 to 33. But there's still 36 minutes left. This candle could end up here. We could end up back down here. We just don't know. We gotta wait. Gotta wait. That's mostly what trading is, waiting. Word trading implies that we're busy doing something all the time, and often it's not doing anything. Mostly stalking, scouting trades, looking for opportunities. It's just like fishing, right? You go out there and you just sit there and cast your line and do the hope and pray that something shows up. Then when it does, that's when you put your game face on. Try not to let the fish off the hook. Pretty sideways. Let me check chat. Anyone trade today? Anyone trading now? How'd your day go? Green, red, no trades. Busy. Slept in. It was cold and rainy here in South Jersey. Still visiting family. Kind of missing the Florida weather lifestyle, but I'll be back there soon. Soonish, I think. So it was a good day for me to the market wasn't doing a whole lot. I slept in I woke up for New York pre-market. Zoe likes to wake me up right around 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30. She starts whining, so I took her for a walk through the woods. Came back, looked at the charts. Didn't really like what I saw. I think I made one trade attempt. Tried to hold through the open, but the open sold off. I got stopped out, and I just was looking at the charts. I was like, I don't like what I see here. So I got to trust myself more that, when I look at the charts and there's nothing there, there's no reason for me to sit here. Set some alerts on price levels that I care about. And if those prices get hit, then I can always, plop back down in front of the computer and get into some trades. But until then, if I'm sitting here, my brain starts wanting it starts telling me to click buttons. Right? We need to be in a trade. We're not doing anything. You need to make some money. All these thoughts go racing through my head, and it's usually not. They're not. It's not great. It's not great advice. Don't want to be trading out of desperation or some sense of urgency, like, oh my God, it's already the 6th of February. We need to get another payout. It's going to be 5 days of at least 200 plus. Need a good winning day or two in there to even make it worth it, to make a withdrawal. There's only 5 trading days a week. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of noise. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but that's what goes on in my head. It's a bit nutty up there. Kevin H says green on all accounts. That's amazing. Good job, man. I know some people did well today. I almost long the where was it here off the open. So down here. So I was long from about right here. This was heading into I missed this initial pullback right here and I got in somewhere around here. And I was green. I think I stopped out. I got back in and then I was looking for the open to kind of move higher. And this was the opening candle, pushed down. I stopped out. And I almost entered down here. This was an hourly outside bar. So a little broadening formation. And I just hesitated. And I regret not getting in there because that was really the best trade of the morning. Got a decent bit of follow through. Like even just this to the highs over here was 80 points. Even if I didn't get even if I missed this second push up, let's call it 70. So 60 to 80 point move would have been good for like one and done, and then that's my day. So made a mental note to because I've seen that play out over and over and over, where we get the hourly outside bar, and then we get a 10 a.m. flip, and things turn around. So 15 finally pushing up here, trying for a 30-minute. It's not going to happen though. We got 1 minute left. I mentioned earlier this could potentially go outside, but running out of time. But we'll probably end up with a compound outside bar if I had to guess, where we get this candle and then we get another candle like this sort of thing. All right, we break the high. So these two candles make an outside bar of this candle. But also a rev strat, 1, 2 down green, break the high on target up here near 882. But again, because it's inside 4 hour, I'm just going to be on the sidelines. $30-minute flip here. So let me adjust. Let me drag this 30 up here. And this 30 is not right, I don't think. Right? Yeah, that's not. I'll just stick that down there for fun. See if this 30-minute candle breaks up. Probably going to stream until the flip, see if we get double inside hours, and then maybe I'll have a trade opportunity. Whoops, not what I want. Don't do that, Tom. That would be upsetting. I am setting my personal daily loss limit on my new XFA. Save lock risk settings. My backup XFA. Risk settings and my primary XFA. I'm not even going to worry about it because I only have $245 to draw down. So either I win on the next trade or I blow the account. So we'll make this, oh, they give some wiggle room. So let's just call this 400 because this gives me the little personal daily loss kind of little counter thing. So I'll know when I'm close to hitting without having to look at balance, or I can use balance, whatever. So I like this little thing as my gauge where I know where I'm getting close to hitting daily loss or in this case losing the account. Combines, I don't set a daily loss. That's just me. If you're new with props or you're struggling, I highly recommend you do. Probably should have some amount of daily loss in there, maybe like 500 or $1,000, but the goal with me trading combines is to get a funded account. So if I'm down like 800, then I just, kind of go a little more aggressive and I don't know. It's probably not the right way to approach it, but that's what I do. Maybe I'll switch it up. But I'm also okay if I spend, $300 on combines and I get 3 or 4 XFAs out of it. I'm okay with that. So like out of spending $100 on 2 combines, if I can get 1 XFA, that's acceptable. But if you're not willing to spend money like that on combines or resets, then don't do it. Like I regret not having some sort of daily loss on the XFAs that I blew the other night that were 50% past. Like I could have given myself another opportunity. I just didn't. So I may change that at some point in the future. We'll see. But I'm just sharing my journey with you guys. It's the way that I do things. Doesn't mean it's right. Just trying to figure it out as I go. Inside 5, 15, 30, 60, 4 hour, 12-hour day, week. We are inside as hell. Inside, 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 inside. Not where I want to be trading. If anything, I think I'll probably take some trades in these combines. I'm going to copy trade 2. I'm going to leave 1 just in case I do something stupid. The other day, I was copy trading all 3. So when I got myself into a deep hole, it was, a little depressing. So copy trading is great if you are following rules and you're consistent. And you can obviously, double, triple, quadruple, quintuple. your leverage. But if you're struggling, I don't recommend it. Just trade them one at a time. I don't mind copy trading too. And if I do something dumb with these accounts that are almost passed, then I will moving forward not copy trade them just because I can't trust myself, you know what I mean? Like I got to have some kind of guidelines. It's like if you keep making the same mistake, if you make it once, okay, it's a one off, twice, all right, but three, four times the same mistake, you might want to reevaluate your approach. Obviously, this isn't working. I need to do something different. It sucks blowing three accounts at once. I didn't even give myself a chance. If like last night, for example, trading sucked. If I blew one account, fine. When the market started moving, I could have traded the other two accounts individually and gotten two funded accounts passed. One of the reasons I want to get back to journaling, that was something I highlighted the other day on my trade plan here, journal. I think the last time I journaled was mid-December, and I don't have any data to go back and say like, hey, what could I have done differently, right? What was I struggling with over the last 2 or 3 weeks? Maybe I would have seen some sort of connection, where market not great, I still took a trade, lost. Then the next day, market not great, still took a trade, lost, right? Then maybe I had a winning day, and then after that, market not great, still took a trade, lost. Well, that tells me that, if the market's not great, don't trade. Don't take the loss. But I couldn't tell you what I did on any of these losing days. I mean, I obviously tried the best I could to take winning setups, but obviously I was not, it wasn't working. But I have no data to go back and say, hey, what could I do differently? Like the only thing that I got out of that is if I've got, like I mentioned earlier, three losing days in a row, maybe take a day off or reduce my daily loss limit. But it's kind of guessing. I could have detailed information about what I did wrong and then maybe be able to make adjustments that would have much more of an impact. I think next week I'm probably going to do what I mentioned and not stream. Depends. If there's a really good setup, then I'll stream Globex Open. If there's not, I'm gonna wait for the first hour to form. That's what market profile, volume profile traders called initial balance. It's the first two 30-minute candles. So the first hour of trading, you mark the high and the low, and then you pay attention to whether we're staying above that or inside of it or below it. And it gives you a little bit of bias. Also helps to identify if it's going to be a rangy kind of day or we're going to get a trend. So something I'm willing to experiment with a little bit. It's not really, I don't use volume profile or footprint charts or any of that stuff, but I'm willing to, kind of adjust my trading a little bit or try something new and see how that works for me. Like don't be scared to experiment. If somebody is telling you this is the only way to trade, you need to do this, that's bullshit. A lot of different ways to make money. You got to find out what works for you, what works for your personality, whether you're patient or impatient, or whether you've got a job and you can only kind of swing trade or intraday swing where you're trading, the 60 or the 4 hour time frame. But if you're going to experiment small. Use a practice account or, like a combine. Don't do it in a funded account or a personal account. And if you do, trade a micro and see how it works. Don't be like experimenting with a mini. Because if it doesn't work, I mean, just because it doesn't work a few times in a row doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It means maybe your understanding of it isn't clear. Maybe the market conditions were kind of garbage. Mark Douglas, in his Trading in the Zone book, says, 20 days, 21 days, I forget, something like that, of taking the same trades over and over and keeping track of what that looks like, right? That's a large enough sample size that you can make a determination about whether something works or not. Doing it once or twice or three times is not enough. So if you're going to take losses, you'd rather take, a mini, or I'm sorry, a micro. Let's say you lose 10 times, 5 times in a row, better on a micro than a mini, or even better on a practice account. Nate, oh no. Nate blew 15 accounts today, not the first time. Gotta share the good with the bad, I guess. Pretty rough. Yeah, man, that's painful. The biggest blow up I've had was 5 funded accounts. I was so excited to copy trade 5 fundeds, and took a couple bad trades, was down a few $100, and then completely went on tilt. And instead of like unlinking them and trading them individually, trying to recover, I just was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to recover them all at the same time. And we all know, I think, how that story ends. Go down 1,000, then size up trying to recover because I need to make it back in the next trade. Not like, hey, let's chip away at this. Let's take 3 or 4 good trades and get back to break even. It's like, no, the next trade has to be $1,000 winner to get all of these funded accounts back to break even. So I feel you, man. I'm sorry to hear it. It's it's part of the game, unfortunately. What do you think you could have done differently? What mistake did you make there? Like how to go down? Share it with anybody else who is struggling in that same situation if you want. Because there's always a lesson in there, right? I mean, you might not like it, you might not want to hear it, but there is something to be learned from making mistakes. For somebody like myself, that's how I improve. I do better. I learn from mistakes. Sometimes not the first time, not the second time, not the third time, but making the same mistake, I get so frustrated and disgusted with myself that I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. We're not doing that again, right? I just have to get to that point of I'm so irritated and pissed off that I'm like, no, not again, right? Maybe it happens in a similar way, and I'll take a lesson from that, but like I'm not going to copy trade 5 funded accounts until I am in a place where I've proven to myself that I'm not going to go on tilt, that I can stick to a daily loss limit. That's what happened to me at the time. I didn't cut myself off at 350 back then. That's why right now I'll copy trade 2 accounts. I'm okay with that. Combines, I did trade three, copy trade three, but I definitely won't do all 5 accounts anytime. At least based on the way that things are currently, it's not going to happen. I'll do two if I have a backup account. If I only have 2 funded accounts, I'm not going to copy trade them. Because if I do blow one up, I always want to have a backup funded account because without a funded account, I can't make money. I can't get paid. Like there's no chance, right? I got to start from scratch in a combine. Nate says over trading after a loss as usual. Yeah, that's kind of like the to be expected, I guess. At least for me, that's how it's always gone down. Did you not have a daily loss limit? You didn't cut yourself off. You just go back into like revenge trading mode, trying to recover, kind of a thing. Like no walking away, not like I need a break. It just you went into F this loss. I'm gonna make it back, and then you end up trading too much and you get smacked. Does that sound familiar? That's my story. All right, guys, we got a flip in. We got double inside 15, inside 30, inside 60. You know the rest of the story. 4 hour, 12-hour day week. We got a flip in 13 minutes. That could be interesting. We could get outside of the 4 hour and they break the hourly inside bar here. Right. There's the 60s. See where we close here. If we close up near the highs, I'm going to be more interested than if we start pulling back and open inside again. But you can see if we break this and we get up to this inside bar and new high, we will get outside of this broadening formation, potential expansion. So that's what I'm looking at. That's the only thing right now that I see that's worth paying attention to. Our kind of range that we're stuck in here. This is the let's mark the 15-minute opening range. And you can see we just poked up a little bit. We're kind of falling back inside of this opening candle. So we'll see where the first hour closes and what kind of range we have there. And pay attention to if we break outside of this to the downside or if we stay kind of stuck for a bit. I'm just trying to patiently wait for the next, solid trend day where we are either, dumping like we did on Sunday into Monday, then we had a bounce during DeepSeek news 2 weeks ago. That was, short the pops. We're going down. We pushed down 1,000 points. Like that's when you get on it. Much more difficult for me when we're stuck in a small kind of tight range. I'm just not a great range trader. I'm working on it, trying to figure out a strategy because from what I understand, I've heard the numbers, it's like 30% of trading days are trend days. So if you're only able to trade trend days, you're out of 10 trading days, you can only trade 3. The other 7 days you got to kind of sit there and twiddle your thumbs, and that's not what I want to do. I want to figure out, hey, if the market is not trending and it's just ranging, we're stuck in between a range, get comfortable longing the lows, shorting the highs, and just trading within that range. Nate said, "Nah, man, Tilt had the reins." Yeah, that's a tough place to be. Let me ask you a question. Are you aware that you're tilted? Like you know what you're doing is wrong and you shouldn't be doing it, but you do it anyway? Is that kind of how it works for you? Like it's almost like an out of body experience for me where it's like, just the level of frustration is so high and I know I should just walk away and I literally can't. I cannot pull myself away. Almost like I need somebody standing over my shoulder to like slap me in the head and say, "What are you doing? Stop. Just stop." Yeah, T Razzle, I feel you. T Razzle said, "When I'm tilted, I'm aware, but I say F it. I'm doing it anyway." That's me, man. It's like I know, with every button click, this is a bad decision. I shouldn't be doing this, but I don't even care, right? At that point, it's like, who cares? I don't give a F, whatever. But then as soon as those accounts are blown, I instantly regret making that decision. It's kind of wild. It's like crazy to go through emotionally. Yeah, Nate says it's get wrecked or die trying. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's brutal. I fortunately I've having a set daily loss limit and locking risk settings has kept me away from that for a while now. Because if I can't move my daily loss limit, right, I can't adjust it, I can't change it, I can't delete it. It's set to liquidate and lock out. Once I hit it, that's it, man. It's game over. I'm forced to walk away, and I need that. I need those training wheels. I need some outside force to get me away from the screens. Like to say you're done. Whether you want to be done or not, you're done. And I absolutely hate it. I mean, I despise it. I don't want to do it. I want to, anytime I end the day red, it's kind of annoying and depressing and whatever. But I mean, that's trading. We're gonna have red days, but I can't let small red go big red, go bigger red, go max loss limit and blow up accounts. Like that's for me has become like unacceptable. Just can't happen. If it happens, it just can't. I can't let that happen. Gotta flip in 6 minutes. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. Alrighty, what's going on? Nothing. The last 15 minutes, we have moved a grand total of 9.5 points. No, last 30 minutes. Wait, what? Why is this different? 30-minute candle, 10 points. Okay, I measured wrong. Yeah, 10 points the last, well, 25 minutes. That is not what you want to be involved with. Green Day says patience pays. It really does. It's another one of those annoying sayings. It's like, all of the things that I heard when I was in recovery, like keep it simple, stupid, but for the grace of God, there go I, blah, blah, blah. You're like, yeah, okay, right, whatever. But what are some of the other ones? I'm trying to think. It's been a minute since I've been in that world. I don't know, but you hear the same things over and over, and it's like, all right, I get it, but you don't really get it until you get it, till it finally hits home, and you're like, oh, all right, now I see what they're talking about. Like process over profits. You're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm here to make money though. But the way to make money is to follow your process repeatedly, consistently, the same way every time. Anybody who's successful, I've heard them say that over and over and over. But putting it into practice is, hearing it and then practicing it, two completely different things. All right, we're pushing up near the highs here on this. So this high of this 30 will become the 60, I believe, according to my calculations. Yeah, so we'll just relabel that as 60 when we get the flip. And then we'll see if we break the 60 high. Double inside bar. I'm going to probably take a shot at it here on these combines. I'm going to wait for a better setup in the XFAs. I don't have a lot of room to be wrong. And this isn't like the best setup. It's not like my favorite. I'd rather wait for the 4 hour, but we'll see. It's worth taking a shot at, in my opinion, for me. Did break the 15-minute inside bar up, but not a lot of magnitude here. So really want to see what happens on this. We're pushing up near the highs. Hopefully we close up near the highs and then we break the high of this inside bar and at least squeeze out 20 points, potentially 25, and then maybe we get a little bit of a push higher. And maybe I practice just taking profits at targets, take the 20 points, maybe aggressively get into a mini or 12 micros, 15 micros, take the quick win, and then be done and wait for something better to set up. What's up, Busy? Good to see you. Busy says he traded MES today. Very rangy. Use the range tool to help. Did you end up green? I was eyeballing MES yesterday. All right, here's the flip. Let's keep an eye on this. Side 2 minute candle. Wait and see what happens here. Broke the 30-minute inside up. Kind of waiting for the 60. Want to see that go. Maybe enter starter. I don't know. I've been getting burned entering on the initial trigger. Like it's been better to wait.
Order filled.
get in here. 60 broke to the upside. See if it gets going anywhere.
Order filled.
We targeting here. Let's mark this other 60. Oh, it is. We got the 60 marked.
Order filled.
See if it goes. Just doing a quick check to make sure my risk return makes sense for me. To where I really want to put my stop here. Kind of, if we get back under 850, yeah, I kind of don't want to see that. Keep it there. Like a big old green candle. Busy says red 17 was red 71. DLL set at 100. Walked at red 17. That's, I mean, managing risk, man, is like the key to success. If you're gonna take a loss, keep it small as possible. That's it. Had to use broad information, range tool, and observing higher highs and lower lows. Yeah, we shoot our shot. We see something that we like. We make an attempt. We keep our risk manageable, and that's it. Right? We hope the market goes in the direction that we want. If it doesn't, we stop out for an acceptable loss. And if it goes in our favor, then that's great. That's what we're shooting for. Like keeping losses small. I talk about it regularly. Is our job number one is to not lose money or to keep the losses as small as possible. Because whether it's a personal account or a prop account or whatever you're trading, if you run out of money, the game is over. Now you can put money back in the machine and start the game again, but it's not fun to do. You want to try and take what you have and take whatever money you have and make more money. And if you can keep your losses as small as possible, then you got a shot. I don't want to add again. I'm kind of waiting a sec here.
Order filled.
Add there. I think that's good for now. I want to see this start working. Not a whole lot happening yet. 860. See what else is in the order book here. 18, 862, 863. Here's the open. I really don't want this candle to go and stay red. So really above like 53 and a quarter. Not be ideal. Order filled. Eesh. If it retriggers, I'll jump back in. But that'll probably be the last trade that I take before I hop off here. Lady man, a 4 hour inside bar just never works out for me. It's always a struggle. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but usually it just, I get chopped up. It's really like the 4 hour is kind of like my cheat code. That's when I trade really well. When we get a 4 hour, two up, two down, something moving, breaking a previous 4 hour inside bar, or like a rev strat. That's that for me. That's when the market feels like it's on easy mode. When it's inside 4 hour, it's just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's like too mentally taxing. I want to see things go pretty quickly. Like this break, I want to at least get my 5 or 10 points of wiggle room, so I can get my stop pretty tight. When that doesn't happen, it's I just start to accept the loss that I'm gonna it's the trade's not gonna work out. So I'm gonna give it another minute. Maybe make one more attempt and it is probably wait for the 4 hour flip. If the 4 hour stays inside, that would be nice. I mean, if it's not gonna go now, the next best time would be on the flip in 2 hours and 50 minutes. What is this? 15:30. So this, whoops. I'm gonna keep an eye on this zone. This is the first hourly candle. I just want to mark it to see how price reacts to this range. Early on that, wanted to wait. This will be it for me. Either this works or it doesn't, and then I'm out of here, guys. Wait for something better. See if the 4 hour screws me again, and then I'll maybe I should just put it on my rule on my list of rules here, not to. It's a 4 hour inside, just avoid it. It's kind of hard though. I don't want to like limit myself, but sometimes that's just what we got to do. Like I won't trade inside 60 at all, so just because it's the 4 hour, I'm gonna make exceptions. The 12 hour and day for me are a little different. It can be a pretty decent sized range. I mean, I guess it all depends on what the candle looks like. Like the daily candle is 51 points. Maybe I need to have a point limit. Like I'll trade the inside bar, but it's got to be 100 points, something like that. It's a possibility. Hadn't really considered it before, but yeah, this is not what I'm all about. Is to get out and stay out, stay above the 60 trigger, not kind of dilly dally here. Closing this. Not what I want to see. Wanted to see this candle go, not mess around here. No reason just to let this stop me out when I don't think it's going to go. Best trades that I have are ones that trigger and go. That's what we got last night with the two down green hammer on the hourly. It triggered. There was an inside five. It just went. I mean, it went 20 points in 4 minutes. Like that's a good trade. Not trigger and then kind of not go. So having the worst luck, just can't get a good trade off of Globex, off the open here. That's okay. I think I'm probably, if we got 4 hour inside bars, we'll just make a hard rule to avoid, not give myself wiggle room on that, or like leave it to discretion. Maybe if it's over a certain, like I said earlier, a certain number of points, and there's enough range, then potentially. But I've seen enough. I've gotten burned enough on inside 4 hour bars that it's, at this point, it's like, just stop. Just don't even try. So we'll see what happens later. I'm going to set some alerts like near probably, where do I care? Like if we get back up here, if we break the high of this current candle, then I care about longs. Until then, yeah. Just we got a 30-minute that can go outside bar. We got a failed two up. It's kind of flip flopping here between green and red, but if this goes red, takes the low, there's a good chance we take out the other side of this. That's what it's looking like it wants to do, but we'll see. Well, you might see. I won't see. I'll be doing something else. Watching Squid Games, I think. I've already seen Squid Games, but watching them with family, getting them caught up on the what's going on. And new, I think the last episode of Beast Games, if you guys are into that. Highly recommend. Very entertaining show. I'm not like a Mr. Beast cultist. My what I call my sorta son. I helped to raise him from 6 until like 14. My ex-girlfriend's son. He's a big old Mr. Beast fan. But the game, it's quite entertaining. It's $5 million prize. You know, a bunch of different competitions, people fighting with each other. It's good stuff. It's like Survivor-ish. So I think I'm gonna watch that. Let the market do what the market's gonna do, and wait for this 4 hour to resolve. So, all right, guys. Appreciate you all. Hope you have a good night. Let's see. Busy says, does range regression tool show? I have no idea. Nate says a bit sluggish. Gonna wait till later. Yeah, I agree. We're just it was like that. It was like this yesterday. It was just very kind of sideways, and then we finally, when things finally started moving, that was, I made all my money in that hour when the market started actually picking a direction. So it's probably going to be the same tonight. I'm just not going to take, a bunch of hits here waiting for something to happen. I'll just wait until there's evidence that it's actually happening, and then I'll jump back in, set my alert. This two up didn't get going here. It's getting redder and redder, more red. Probably coming back here. But anyhow, have a good night, guys. I'll see you later. Good luck with your trading, and see you soon, hopefully.